So when income is going to rise, consumption and saving both are going to rise. Fine. And general perception is कि consumption is going to rise with the higher rate in comparison to what? Savings. And especially in the shorter run. In short run, like 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years, such kind of things, if you will consider, what will happen? A person is going to increase their income, they are going to purchase goods. For example, if they do not have any AC in their home, they are going to purchase the AC for bedroom, drawing room, then kitchen, right? So at a point of time, your requirement for this AC, requirement for television, requirement for all these goods is going to be what? Fulfilled. Then in that case, what you are going to do? You are going to use that money for what? Saving purpose. So these are the things which need to be studied rather than just discussing of what? Rather than just discussing policies at government level. So that need to be discussed. But apart from that, the production should be done in what manner, what other things are there, in what way people are consuming the things, in what way people are doing the savings. Like for example, if more and more savings going to be there, and these savings are generally going to be where? Banks. People will deposit their money in the bank. And if lot of people started depositing the money in the bank will offer higher interest rate or lower interest rates. So if the lower interest rate will be there, people are going to get less return. And if they are going to less return, will they invest their money in the bank? No. So these are the things also need to be studied in the detailed manner rather than just discussing what policies at government level, like what taxation should be there, what land policy should be there, right? What in what way we have to allow the export and import. So apart from this government level, we need to discuss all these things in detail, right? We need to discuss all these things in detail. So when we need these things to discuss in detail, then that need to be discussed separately. आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? आपको उसको separately discuss करना पड़ेगा. You cannot put in this domain. You have to create a separate domain. That is why in 1890, Alfred Marshall, he was an economist and he wrote a book, Principles of Economics. He wrote a book, Principles of Economics, and in that book, he used the term economics in place of political economy. So we was using the term what? Political economy, but it was Alfred Marshall who used the term what? Economics. So since 1890s, we are studying this term as what? Economics. Earlier it was known as what? Earlier it was known as political economy. Okay. So now economics is a subject where we study government policies as well as policies at production level, like what amount to be produced, what saving pattern should be there, wages should be there. So all these things are going to be studied under what? Economics. Fine. Now, when this economics is being studied, in 1930s, there was another economist. His name was Ragnar Frisch. Frisch. Sorry. Ragnar Frisch. So Ragnar Frisch said that ki in the subject of economics, we generally study at micro level as well as macro level. When you are talking about a particular school, what are the expenses of the school? What are the sources of revenue for the school? How many students are there? How many students are going to get passed from the school? All these things when you are studying, right? Whereas when you're studying all schools of Delhi, how many students are enrolled? What is the total expenditures of the school? How many buses they do have? You're studying at micro level or macro level. When we are studying about schools expenditure in Delhi, how much expenditures of schools in Delhi, whereas we are discussing about particular schools expenditure. So when we are discussing particular schools expenditure, whereas when we are discussing all schools, so this is micro and this is macro. So what is macro? When we are going to discuss in large, that is macro, and when we are going to discuss at particular level, then it is what? Micro. So Ragnar Frisch, he why he came into the picture? Because what happened? Certain people they are saying that ki study at micro level defines economics. Whereas certain people are saying that ki no. It is only at macro level when we study, only that defines economics. So Ragnar Frisch, he explained कि when we want to find a correct data at macro level, अगर हमें क्या जानना है कि दिल्ली के स्कूल्स का ओवरऑल एक्सपेंडिचर कितना है, तो we have to fine tune and study each and every school their expenditure properly. Only then we are able to get a refined data at larger level. Fine. Whereas if we want to know what is happening at particular school, so it is very important we have to study the full data also, overall school's expenditure in Delhi. So the logic he has given कि microeconomics can be studied in the proper manner only when we have a proper data at macro level. Similarly, if we have a fine-tuned data at micro level, then we can study that thing at macro level correctly. So through his studies, he said that ki microeconomics complements macroeconomics and macroeconomics complement microeconomics. None of them separately defines economics. We need both. At microeconomics, we study the things at very micro level or unit level. Or whereas in the macroeconomics, we do study at larger level, complete as a whole. So in this way, they have given the idea of what? Microeconomics and macroeconomics. So in that way, subject got evolved. Started from what? Political economy, become economics, and further classified into what? Macroeconomics and microeconomics. Right. Now, in your NCRT books or in other books, when we talk about economics as a subject, the first thing came is the central problem of economics. So what is the central problem? और प्रॉब्लम क्यों बोल रहा है वो? हिस्ट्री में तो नहीं बोलता सेंट्रल प्रॉब्लम ऑफ हिस्ट्री, तो इकोनॉमिक्स में क्यों बोल रहा है? Why they are saying the central problem of economics? See, subject of economics when it was started with the Adam Smith, right? When it was started with the Adam Smith as what? With Adam Smith, the policies. Why we want to make the policy? We want to make things better. So when we want to make things better, we see the things which are working at present, they are not working properly. And if we are going to implement a better policy, then we can do better. अगर हम अच्छी पॉलिसी इंप्लीमेंट करेंगे तो हम अच्छा काम कर सकते हैं. तो जो प्रेजेंट में चीजें हैं, the things which are in the present, we see those things as what? Problems. So that we can come with the better policies in order to things make things better. आप अभी पढ़ाई कर रहे थे, ठीक है? अब सीयूईटी में सिलेक्शन को अगर आप एक प्रॉब्लम की तरह नहीं देखोगे कि देर इज अ प्रॉब्लम, देर इज अ सीयूटी एग्जाम एंड आई हैव टू क्रैक इट, only then you are able to get the selection na, in the good universities. So you have to see that thing as a problem or not. Maybe you can say that I can see that thing as an opportunity also, but basically it's a problem which you have to face, tackle and crack so that you will get selected. तो हम क्या करेंगे, हम इकोनॉमिक्स में चीजों को एज अ प्रॉब्लम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ऑफ देखते हैं कि इट इज अ प्रॉब्लम, so that we can create some good solutions in order to solve those problems. So that is why we see the things in the economics as a problematic things. So there are many problems. wages कितना होना चाहिए, गवर्नमेंट को टैक्स कितना लगाना चाहिए, ठीक है. So there are a lot of issues, but what is the core, what is core here on which each and everything is dependent? So the core here is, the basic fundamental thing is, we have very limited number of resources and human demands are what, endless. So how to use their scarce resources in order to fulfill the unlimited demands? Because demands of human being is complex in the nature and keep rising. So in order to solve those things, we have to do what? We have to do this thing. What we have to do? We have to go for considering as a central problem. What central problem? The central problem is scarcity of resources. So scarcity of resources. So now the scarcity of resources is there. Then we have to focus on what? What should be the way to produce, right? So in economics, the fundamental problem is what? Scarcity of resources. So when we see the scarcity of resources at micro level, अब एक स्कूल का एग्जांपल फिर से लेते हैं. एक स्कूल का क्या सोर्स ऑफ रेवेन्यू है जो वो फीस ले रहा है, ठीक है. द फीस दे आर कलेक्टिंग फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट्स एंड देयर एक्सपेंसेस, फाइन. सिमिलरली व्हेन वी सी दिस प्रॉब्लम एट लार्जर लेवल, दिल्ली के लेवल पे देखते हैं कि दिल्ली में टोटल स्कूल्स कितने हैं, उनके पास रेवेन्यू कितना आ रहा है और उनके एक्सपेंसेस कितने हैं. देन इट इज गोइंग टू बी व्हाट, मैक्रो प्रॉब्लम. एंड व्हेन वी आर गोइंग टू सी एट पर्टिकुलर स्कूल लेवल, इट इज गोइंग टू बी व्हाट, माइक्रो प्रॉब्लम. सो इन दिस वे माइक्रो एंड मैक्रो प्रॉब्लम्स आर देयर. ठीक है, क्लियर हुआ? तो सेंट्रल प्रॉब्लम ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स इज व्हाट? Scarcity of resources. Subject was taught as what? First, political economy. Then it become what? Economics. And in the economics, further it is divided into what? Macro and microeconomics. And macroeconomics both have the central problem as what? Scarcity of resources. बहुत जोर से नींद आ रही है. नहीं, झूठ, मुझे पता है. अच्छा, अभी ये पॉइंट क्लियर हुआ कि हमें पढ़ना क्या है आगे, जो सब्जेक्ट है हमारा क्या है, ये क्लैरिटी है. ठीक है, तो आज ज्यादा नहीं करेंगे, यहीं तक ही रखते हैं. ठीक है, तो बेसिकली आई हैव इंट्रोड्यूस द सब्जेक्ट. ठीक है, अच्छा, और अभी और किस 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 से क्लास हुआ आपका? अच्छा, हाँ हाँ. हम्म हम्म. अच्छा, ये ठीक है. तो अभी फिर फ्रॉम टुमारो ऑनवर्ड्स व्हाट वी विल डू, पहले माइक्रो करना है कि मैक्रो करना है? मैक्रो करना है पहले. हम्म. देखो, मैं सिर्फ आपसे पूछ रहा था, कराऊंगा तो मैं वही जो मुझे कराना है. ठीक है, एंड मैं वही कराऊंगा जिससे कि आपको सब्जेक्ट में इतना कॉन्फिडेंस आ जाए कि आप वहां पे जाके सारे क्वेश्चन सही कर लो. ठीक है, तो मैं मैक्रो ही कराऊंगा पहले. ठीक है, माइक्रो का जो पार्ट है, ठीक है, वो कम है और वो स्पेसिफिक है. तो जहां पर वो रिलेट हो रहा होगा ना मैक्रो से, मैं वहीं पे करा दूंगा उसको. तो रादर देन गोइंग टू स्कूल अप्रोच. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन यूपीएससी, व्हेन वी टीच इन द यूपीएससी व्हाट हैपेंड, देयर इज इंडियन इकोनॉमी ओनली. तो वहां पे इंडियन इकोनॉमी ही है. मैक्रो और माइक्रो का है ही नहीं रोल. But some of the concept of microeconomics are essential to understand the Indian economy. So what certain people will do? Certain people do what? They will teach basic fundamentals first. ठीक है, फिर वो आगे बढ़ते हैं सारी चीजों में. तो होता क्या है, दैट बेसिक फंडामेंटल विच यू हैव स्टडीड इन वेरी फर्स्ट क्लास, इट इज गोइंग टू रिलेट विद द 31st लेक्चर. और वो 31st लेक्चर में मैं आपसे बोल रहा हूँ कि मैंने फर्स्ट लेक्चर में वो बताया था, है ना, यही होता है ना. तो द बेटर वे इज व्हाट, स्टार्ट फ्रॉम समवेयर वेयर स्टूडेंट्स विल गेन द कॉन्फिडेंस एंड टॉट दैट पर्टिकुलर कॉन्सेप्ट विच इज रिलेटेड. तो वो फर्स्ट क्लास में मैं नहीं बताऊंगा, वो मैं 31st क्लास में जहां पे वो कॉन्सेप्ट आएगा ना, तब बताऊंगा कि देखो ये माइक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स का कॉन्सेप्ट है, इट इज दिस एंड इट इज रिलेटेड टू दिस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स इन दिस वे. तो आप कंसोलिडेट कर जाओगे. तो देर इज अ वे टू गो अकॉर्डिंग टू द स्ट्रक्चर. आप स्ट्रक्चर के अकॉर्डिंग चल रहे होते हो. दूसरा होता है कि आप अंडरस्टैंडिंग किससे अच्छा आ रहा है उसके अकॉर्डिंग चल रहे होते हो. तो इन कॉम्पिटेटिव एग्जाम वहां पे आपसे वो ये नहीं पूछेगा कि बताओ पहले माइक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ा था कि मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ा था कि इंडियन इकोनॉमी पढ़ा था. उसको उससे मतलब नहीं है ना. हाउ मेनी क्वेश्चंस यू हैव मेड करेक्ट, वो मैटर करता है. तो इसलिए मैंने ये चीज जब हमने वर्कशॉप किया था ना, तभी मैंने यही बोला था. वर्कशॉप में भी द सेम थिंग आई टोल्ड ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स कि सी इट डजंट मैटर कि in what structure you have studied. The ultimate thing is कि if the question will come and you have corrected, you will get an entry. हाँ, उसके बाद जाके फिर से स्ट्रक्चर्ड वे में ही पढ़ना है वहां पर भी क्या है, स्ट्रक्चर्ड वे में पढ़ना है. बट वंस यू हैव अ कॉन्फिडेंस, ठीक है, एक बार कॉन्फिडेंस आ जाएगा ना, तो फिर प्रॉब्लम नहीं होता है. तो वो लाना है मुझे, तो मैं अपने स्ट्रक्चर के हिसाब से कराऊंगा आपको. ठीक है, अभी और भी क्लास है.